I promised that I would eat this ungodly edible on the show, and so I did. When I was in Colorado, we made brownies, and like you can like do the math if you want like 1,000 milligram edible, you can do the math. Once you've got the potency of the marijuana and
Sure.
and the weight and everything. So we did the math and made 1,000 milligrams of brownies, and I ate 1,000 milligrams of brownies
over the course of 8 cupcakes.
Yeah, like I made them.
Another
I made
sugar
them as
high.
potent as I could, but like when you're trying to eat 1,000 milligrams, you're gonna have to eat a lot of shit, unless you just want to be eating straight.
It was so funny, like seeing comments after that episode of people who like don't know you the way like Woody and I do. They'd be like, Kyle clearly faking, and I'm like, no, Kyle's one of my closest friends. He was not faking. He was having he was trying to mitigate a full-on panic at one point.
I've not seen the episode, and I haven't heard about this. So give me the 2-second TLDR.
Oh, it was just it. I got them all eaten about 2 hours into the show, and just slowly had a meltdown. I was like this, and I think someone asked me when I was doing this, and I was like, I'm holding on. like I felt like I was vibrating, like throughout my whole body. And like I would have these long periods of like time dilation where I couldn't tell if a moment had passed or 3 seconds or 10. It was really like discombobulating.
Was
like
your voice coming out warbled to where like you would say something and then a half second later in your memory the way you said it was goofy and weird?
It was hard to like. It felt like my voice was doing stuff. It was really awful. Like we were talking about it in a call the other day, and somebody was like, "That was wild," and Dirty was like, "You should have been in the other room. He had to walk past us to get to the bathroom every time." Dirty's like, "He was hanging on the wall getting to the bathroom." I was like, I could barely walk. That was silly. That was awful. I'll never do that much again.
That feels like super high dose of THC. That's what it does to me too. I did a trip up to Colorado with my brother. We met him out there. My wife and I and my brother's wife and him, and we met out and hung out there and did a lot of that, and then went out and saw a concert. And I just tried to keep up with him. I'm not super experienced with that. Try to keep up with him, and he's a big guy. A and B is much more experienced in that than I am. And it was just like by the end of that concert, I was just like sitting there. I'm like huddled, like trying not to fall over backwards. I'm not hating it, but like it's too much, right? Like you're just like overwhelmed by the experience of being there. So that resonates with me.
There were people like who responded to that episode where Kyle did it, where they're like, "This isn't even a punishment. He likes weed." It's like, okay, well,
first of all, it wasn't supposed to be a punishment.
Let's say,
yeah, right.
I know. It wasn't supposed to be a punishment, but people perceived it to be kind of like the drinking episodes. But it was like, yeah, Kyle loves weed. Let's imagine for a minute that Kyle loved alcohol. Yeah, and we said over the course of an episode, he had to drink a handle of vodka. Like, yeah, he might. Well, first of all, he'd be dead. I think. I don't think you can drink that much in that amount of time and not die. So. But like, yeah, even if he was the biggest like connoisseur of vodka, if he had to drink that much of it, he'd be vomiting and feel like dog shit. Like same thing with weed.
Yeah. No, that was awful. That was a real shitty. Because that was our last night there too, and I had to be at the airport at like, I don't know, like 11 hours after I started eating those things. I was so high on the way to the airport.
I love getting high. Like weed is my drug of choice, but I don't like waking up the next day still feeling high, because then it's like, even though it's not like a hangover where you're waking up like, oh my goodness, my head hurts and I'm dehydrated and I don't feel great, but it's still enough. Like that weed hangover, and it's only from edibles. I can smoke as much as I want the night before, and then you're fine by the morning. But if you take a bunch of edibles, like you wake up still tired. You could sleep for 10 hours.
I don't even remember if I did
keep sleeping.
Like I can't remember if I slept. I there wasn't a lot of time between like the end of the show and like when I had to be like up to get ready. So I don't remember if I slept or not. I just felt awful. The when it was over, like there was a little bit of a hangover the next day. I wasn't sober when I got in my car at the airport, like back in Atlanta. Like I had to sit in the car for a while. That
sucks to get home and then have to sit in your car and sober up, like listening to music or whatever.
Like I didn't feel necessarily hot. I had been high for so long that I wasn't sure if I was still high or how high I was. Like I did. It was almost like I didn't have a concept.
You know what a good test for that is?
Of what sobriety was.
Get on the highway and just gun it.
Dude, what I've found over time, and it was because a friend told me this when I was much younger, like where I was like, I don't know if I'm still high the next day if I take a bunch of edibles or whatever. He was like, if you wake up and you are thinking over and over about, am I high? Am I not high? You're high. Like the fact that you're having that little debate in your head means you're still fucking high.
I do that a lot. I do that with alcohol too.
Really? You wake up next morning wondering if you're still drunk?
The aspect of it where you're like wondering, like, am I drunk? Am I faking drunk?
Oh, I see.
Like, you know, like that. I do that a lot.
But I feel like that's almost foisted onto you by the fact that the only time you drink is when you're doing this show, right? Like if you and Jackie decided you wanted to watch a couple episodes of The Witcher and you both wanted to have some wine or something with it, like you wouldn't be thinking throughout the process, like, am I buzzed? Am I drunk? Am I feeling
also,
this?
like, there's something about like doing the show and kind of being like on and like doing our thing here that like you almost turn off like a little part of your brain that's even like keeping track of how you're doing. If I was just chilling on my couch, I'd be much more cognizant of how high I am right now. I'm pretty high right now though. Like this is what I do is I mix the THCO and the THCP, and
combined OP.
It's two made up things that are probably like all just some sort of Chinese goo that I'm smoking that has no anything in it. God knows what this is. We're all going to die of cancer if we keep smoking.
Dude, it's just extracted from hemp.
Yeah, if you say so. I don't know how they got all that juice out of hemp.
I don't know about THCO. That might be synthetic, but Delta 8 isn't.
I don't know what I'm smoking, but it works, I suppose. But yeah, I think there's different like tolerances and tolerance breaks or whatever for maybe like THCO versus THCP versus like, you know, when I go to a legal state now, like, am I going to have no tolerance? Like because I haven't been smoking weed.
You will have no. I can tell you this for a fact. Like for a long time now, I've just been doing Delta 8, not regular weed, because regular weed isn't legal here. So I was like, you know, I just take more of this and it does the same thing. May as well do that. And so I'd been doing Delta 8 for months. And then I went to my brother's bachelor party in Florida, and a bunch of guys flew down there and we were all having a great time. And I thought like, oh, Delta 8 tolerance will translate to Delta 9 tolerance. Like it's got to be some of those same receptors and shit, you know, Delta 9 being normal weed. And I smoked a lot of regular weed that weekend and I got unreal high off of like, no, I'm serious. Like a couple hits off of a blunt in a
Delta
circle.
8 doesn't build a tolerance at all.
I thought it would. And then I smoked regular weed and I got like borderline uncomfortably high off of like 4 hits off of a big blunt. Well, I guess 4 passes, so 8 hits off of it. But like I was not expecting that. I remember I was sitting there. We were all at this area like by the water in this little like cabana, and everyone's passing it around. And I get it and I hit it again and pass it, and it's all normal. And then I get it for probably the 3rd time, and I take my 5th and 6th hit. And then I like do that lean back thing when you're high in one of those like naturally lean back plastic chairs, and immediately realized like, oh, you're way too high right now. Like you are basically a virgin, you know, tight butthole bitch right now when it comes to Delta 9. And so like I had to sit there and I was like doing that, like almost crawling out of my skin, but we're all just hanging out talking. And so I was like, all right, I need to sit here for like 20 more minutes. And then I can get up and leave naturally. And like I even had that reminder voice in my head where it's like, Taylor, game time. You've been too high more times than you can count. You know how to handle this. And if anything,
this is what we trained for.
If anything, that little internal monologue gave me hope where I was like, yeah, I've been way higher than this and handled it just fine. I'm good. I'm good. Like, and then I went, this was the last night of his bachelor party. So like we'd been drinking and getting fucked up for a while. That was at like 7:45 p.m. Took my 5th and 6th or 7th and 8th hit, handed it to the next guy and was like, I'm going to bed. And I stood up and did that like first person shooter walk. Like that, like that Doom walk where everything in Doom isn't quite moving at the right paces, like as you're walking. Oh, man.
I was flying in Mexico, and the weather got bad, and it knocked about 60% of my wing like out of the sky, and it's not flying, and it's wanting to turn and sort of spiral dive. I quickly got it to like 25% of my wing, where I can fly with 75% of a wing, and just sort of sort it out. And I thought to myself, like, because I'm on the acro progression, I'm really good at handling this kind of problem. And it was like, I'm glad that I'm the guy that this happened to, because this is my forte. That's Taylor with being too high. He's like, I am the person equipped to handle issues like this.
Oh yeah.
God put me on earth to handle too much marijuana, and here I am.
I can handle it. I there's something in my brain. I'm too high, but someone says something and I still make a joke, and I'm like, all right, they don't think I'm too high. I just joked.
What's the most inappropriate? What's that most inappropriate and or scary place you've ever been too high?
Oh, I remember
work.
I don't even remember the situation it was, but I had to fly through O'Hare, and I was way too high to do like airport things, like even the thought of like I was high when I showed up at O'Hare. I think I was hanging out with friends in Chicago. This was like 10 years ago or something. And I went to O'Hare to fly back. That must have been it. And I was high out of my mind, and going through was the most uncomfortable thing I ever did, because I know in my mind that everyone there, all those, because when you're stoned as shit going through TSA, those are no longer retards who couldn't get other jobs. They are CIA agents on the lookout for your malfeasance. They are on the lookout for your malfeasance. I remember walking through that and multiple airports where they have that area where you're in line for security, and the 2 lanes becomes one, and there's a big area where there's a guy with a dog, and he walks back and forth. And I remember being so high, being like, he's gonna smell my breath, and so I walked through that area.
Is that a thing?
No, it's not a thing. And so I was like waiting at the area where he let you through, and I was like, he's like, all right, next person, and I'm like, and then I hold my breath through the whole thing, and I'm like, I'm glad we made it through that one. And then
couldn't have held on much longer. Glad that didn't take too long.
Yeah, that's what it was. Like, that was probably being high in the airport before security, horrible. Being high in the airport after security, great.
So remind me to tell you of the number 1 scariest after the show.
Okay.
But number 2 is the airport as well, I think. And I give myself a pep talk before something like that, because I need to talk to all of the me's.
Yeah,
we need to all get on the same page on this.
Yeah.
We need
you're saying like we, referring like the royal we, referring to yourself.
Yeah, all of us in here. We need to know. Like there's like maybe there's like 3 Kyles. Like, I need to talk to those other 2, and we need to be on the same page. And so I'm basically like, look, the average person is so fucking stupid that it's not going to matter that you're slow, you don't understand instructions, and they have to tell you 3 times, because they deal with this on the daily. No one will think you're high. They'll think you're stupid. You're stupid today. Be stupid. Don't be embarrassed. You're stupid. Oh, you didn't understand? You take the shoes off? Ask them why you take the shoes off. Quiz them about it. They'll know you're stupid. And so that's what I do. I just be stupid me. She's like ID, and I'm like, you're who? Your ID. No, I'm Kyle. we have a whole fucking thing of like she legitimately asked me to like show her my ID, and because I'm so high, this is after that edible, like, I don't know what she wants. If she wants me to hand it to her, there's a bit of plexiglass between us. Do I mash it against it like you might at a club? Like, I don't know what she wants. And so I'm just like, I hold it up and smile. The whole thing. But like every step of the way, I was fucking up, right? Like, I didn't grab my tray and like fast enough. I think I had put.
You were holding up people because you were like taking your shoes off.
No, it wasn't that busy, but like, I was bad at getting to the airport, and I had this real awkward conversation with like a TSA guy, like where I thought I was like still playing stupid, but I need to play stupid because I am stupid. This the quote unquote playing stupid is just me having an excuse for why I'm so high, really, and making and now that I have an excuse for being high, now I don't panic because I'm so high. And I remember not being sure if my mask was going to be like appropriate, like if they had like if they were going to allow my mask, because I've got one of those that it's like a neckerchief that you like pull up and it looks like a bandana, like a half mask type thing. Yeah, the gator thing. I like
that's a cool look. I like that.
Someone said that was the douchey look, and I just thought it was
a Kyle.
Look, I just think it's easy.
I mean,
to like
would I lead you astray to make you look foolish? No.
Look, if that's the douchey mask, then the fucking left ear is the gay ear. Because I just picked the one that fucking fits well and like is easy to not lose. And now you've made me lose my train of thought because I'm stoned.
No,
you were playing stupid,
not sure. You were scared, and your mask wasn't appropriate because it's not.
See, the reason I was confused is because that even though I was wearing that like neck gator douchebag Kyle mask, they handed me this little like the cheapest temporary paper mask you've ever seen.
Throw that in the trash. Garbage.
We'll see what I took. What stoned me took, and keep in mind, there's the chatter of the airport line part. I thought she was like, what it was is she wanted me to wear that one for the scanner, for some reason. Like even like. She didn't want me to wear mine to do this. Maybe it was bunched up. I think that is the case. But she didn't explain that, or I didn't hear that. So I kept wearing it, and I thought she was like, your mask is no good here. Don't wear your mask. That's what I heard. You've got an illegal mask. And now I'm thinking, like, if I were to wear this mask any deeper in the airport, I might be subject to further questioning, and I will not stand up to such a questioning. So I like walk up to this TSA guy, and I'm like, is my mask okay? Am I wearing the wrong mask? And he's like, what are you talking about? I'm like,
you think that guy gives a fuck?
I had the most awkward conversation with him ever. He was like,
is this mask okay?
Pretty much,
man, whatever. Yeah.
We should sell something like a hoodie that you wear backwards. So you just walk around with like a little hoodie in front, and then when you need your mask, you can go to the quickie mart.
And it's got a cutout band.
Yeah,
for
it's like
eyes.
A balaclava type thing.
Yeah,
you pull it in. Maybe it has a cool face. Makes you look something, I don't know, like the Joker.
I like this.
I didn't know where we were going for a brief moment.
It gives you like one of those Mexican death masks. Ooh,
yeah. Right? Or I'm not opposed to the Joker. We could do a couple different ones. But the idea that it's like a backwards hoodie and then and your mask ready, I like it.
Thieves love them.
Wait, so they
were the backwards hoodie to like for COVID, but criminals in like South America just rose.
Yeah,
they're like,
that shit's already happening. Have you seen all the videos in like South America where it's like subject breaks into a convenience store and robs it, but was wearing a mask, so we don't know who it is.
When I go to the pharmacy to pick up like drugs for Kitty, I wear my mask, which is it really a douchey mask? Am I not supposed to wear that one? Did someone decide that mask is lame?
I don't even know what the fuck you're talking about. Okay, this is
what we should sell.
I don't see the joke. This is cool.
I just want to go through the airport like that.
And they're like you give them your ID and you just refuse to zip it down.
No. The ID is that.
Yeah. The ID is a picture of that, and you're like, I'm so sorry. Let me fix this.
I take it off and reveal myself to be pushing 50 in that fucking thing.
I didn't know. Kyle, are there like that? They were saying there were masks that you're not supposed to wear anymore.
No, he was high.
He was worried about that. He was worried because he knows.
Oh, so you really just so that was whole cloth invented by you in the moment.
I said, it was a misunderstanding. But like now, the sober me in retrospect believes that as I went through the scanner, they wanted me to put on that little thin papery thing. so the scanner could scan better, and they fully
You're not
intended me to.
hiding a blade in your crazy mask.
Yeah, but what I heard was like, you can't wear that here. What she meant was like, take it off because the scanner, blah blah blah. But I heard like, don't wear that in the airport or we'll interrogate you, druggie. So I was like having a whispered conversation with some random TSA guy about, is my mask okay? She said my mask wasn't okay. I don't know if my mask is okay. And he's like, we do not have a mask policy. I don't know where he was from, but he said
I do not care what you do. What do you think I care where you wear a mask from?
That's basically what I got from him. He was like, I just do not care if you wear a mask. Any mask we do. And so I put my
that's how I would be if I was an airline employee.
No,
just fucking put a sock in front of your mouth. I don't give a shit. Just something so I don't have to get involved.
But like I'm afraid of like getting into an instance where I have to explain myself because I know I'm going to be bad at doing that.
You're allowed to be dumb. Like I've taken that same strategy, right? It's not illegal to be stupid.